Hey, Wire Monkeys, welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Cabling. This episode, we're talking about video surveillance systems.
Welcome to Let's Talk Cabling, your gateway to the world of ICT. Get ready to dive deep into knowledge that empowers.
Welcome to the show where we tackle the tough questions submitted by installers, project managers, foremen, customers, IT personnel, everybody. We are connecting at the human level so that we can connect the world. If you're watching this show on YouTube, would you mind hitting the bell button and the subscribe button to be notified when new content is being produced? If you're listening to us on one of the audio podcast platforms, would you mind giving us a 5-star rating? Those simple little steps helps us take on the algorithm so we can educate, encourage, and enrich the lives of people in the ICT industry. Wednesday nights, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What are you doing? You know, I do a live stream on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, where you get to ask your favorite RCDD, and you know that's me. Questions on installation, design, certification. I even do career path questions. But I can hear you now. But Chuck, I'm driving my truck on Wednesday nights at 6 p.m. I don't want to get into an accident. Relax. I record them, and you can watch them at your convenience. And finally, while this show is free and will always remain free, if you find value in this content, would you click on that QR code right there? You can buy me a cup of coffee. You can even schedule a 15-minute one-on-one call with me, after hours, of course, where I can answer all your questions. So as I mentioned, today's show is about video surveillance systems, how to design them right, how to install them cleanly, and better yet, always don't forget how to hand them off professionally to the customer. So whether you're a tech in the field or a project manager overseeing an install, or maybe even a designer speccing out the layout, you're going to walk away with some tips from today's show that's going to help you on your next project. My guest today is going to be boots on the ground experience with real world experience in building smarter surveillance systems. We're going to cover 3 areas today. Right? We're going to cover designing systems that actually work and can scale up, installing them like a professional from the cable choice to mounting and powering up, and testing and handing off. So grab your notepad. This isn't just theory today. Today we're talking about field tested advice from somebody who lives it every day. My guest is Gary Runkle from Alpha Technologies. Gary, how you doing, my friend?
Doing wonderful. How you doing today, Chuck?
Except for I got the name wrong. It's not Alpha Technologies. It's Alpha Team Tech Solutions.
You got it. Yes, sir.
How could I forget that? There you go. So why don't you give us the 30,000-foot view? Who's Gary and who's Alpha Team Tech Solutions?
So basically, high-level view. I got started in telecommunications in the military, came out into the civilian world, and didn't really see people doing this with, a lot of integrity and a lot of honor. We kind of ran across a lot of people that were just slamming systems in. And so I wanted to take the values that I learned during my military career and basically apply it to the civilian world in this trade. And that's where I started Alpha Team Tech Solutions.
Very cool. What branch of the service were you in?
Army.
Army? Oh, well, thank you for your service. So let's say you get that phone call. Okay, it's the customer. And he's like, Gary, I need you to design a camera system for me. What's the first thing you want to know about that site or that facility?
So the very first question that I typically ask any clients that are interested in installing a system is, what do you want to watch? What do you need to see? How much of it do you need to see? And are there any specific security interests that you have? Vehicles coming and going, people coming and going, employees, maybe false workers' comp claims, stealing, money theft, anything along those lines if they have specific concerns.
We're going to have to dive into each and every one of those. But, one of the things I've noticed, because, I'm building the podcast studio and I do have a video surveillance system here at the house, but it's just a cheap ring wireless thing because we have a farm. So I got to be able to see the wildlife and stuff. But I'm thinking about putting in a video surveillance system for the podcast and even making videos about it, right? And when I started looking at it, I realized man, you can get some really amazing performance, but you can also get some really amazing expensive systems. So how do
Yep.
you balance budget versus performance? What feature could I sacrifice or could someone sacrifice in the name of saving a few bucks?
So that's kind of one of the things that we focus on is what features can you not live without? Do you want just a simple system that you can just see people and view it on a phone, view it on a website, whatever computer system, whatever? Do you need to see license plates? Do you need night vision? Do you need, do you need AI? Do you need nowadays camera systems integrate with everything? They integrate with an alarm system. They integrate with access control. We've got access control systems that the camera will see you, run your face through the AI program, and unlock the door for you before you even get to it.
Oh,
Because
that's cool.
cameras are that feature rich.
That is cool.
Yeah, it's amazing the technology that cameras can do nowadays. But we have systems that we like that are pretty much middle of the road. They're not your dirt cheap stuff that you pull off of Amazon. They're not your civilian level. They're steel housing, an actual commercial grade system that your insurance company will thank you for. If something happens and you send them our footage from our cameras, they'll thank you for it. So
right. And makes the law enforcement's job a little bit easier as well too. People
absolutely.
people always forget that law enforcement's not there to stop the robbery from happening. They're there to investigate it after it's done. So the more
Correct.
information you can give them, the better, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Well, we can't talk about video surveillance systems. The key word there is video.
Yep.
Without talking about the different types of cameras like domes and pan-tilt zooms and fisheyes. How does a designer or maybe even a technician decide what kind of cameras to use and where should they go?
So again, we're concerned about what the field of view is. Do we have, if we have a corner that we can mount a camera in and they're not concerned with maybe blind spot under the camera, maybe we go with a bullet, maybe we go with a dome or something like that. But that's really, it's just about what we're trying to see with that camera that will determine what kind of camera we put in.
Well, you're in Florida as we're recording this. Not too far from me, I might add.
Yep.
But you're from the Carolinas.
Yep.
Weather down in Florida is a little different than a lot of other areas, right? We have, I saw, we had a storm come through here Tuesday, and on Tuesday, that Tuesday, Florida got hit with 20,000 lightning strikes.
Yep, I saw that actually. I saw that on our way down, and it kind of alerted me that you guys had 20,000 strikes in one day. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, I always knew we were the lightning capital of the United States, but that's a lot of lightning in one day. We actually even had tornado warnings, right? So let's talk about some environmental factors, right? Temperature.
Yeah.
One of the things that you don't realize, especially in here in Florida, we get this inverse relationship with the heat and the humidity. I've literally had it raining inside my barn when it wasn't because we had like a mist, right?
Yep.
But it would collect on the tin on the barn, and I discovered because I walked in, I was like, why does my tractor have all these raindrops on it? Because it's underneath the barn.
Your humidity here is on a whole nother level.
Yes, it is.
Than what it is up where I am. That's for sure.
Right?
So
right. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the temperature and the moisture, right? How should somebody incorporate that into the designing process?
So when it comes to something like that, you really want to, hopefully the company that you're working with has experience. We've tried out, we've probably been through 20 different systems to find one that we really liked. We didn't have problems with. They were pretty well sealed, stuff like that. So the customer kind of is going to have to rely on a company's expertise, to be honest with you, because that's really just learning as you go. It's trial by fire. Mm-hmm. As much as I hate to say it, but nowadays your really good commercial systems, 99% of them will be really sealed housings. You can waterproof the back boxes. You can waterproof your cable connection coming into the camera, stuff like that. So you really need to be paying attention to your weather rating on your camera. Right. What is it? IP65 and IP68 ratings are like the outdoor ratings on them. I'm drawing a blank. But you know what I'm talking
remember
about.
what IP65 is. IP67 means it can be submerged under 3 feet of water
Yep.
for up to 30 minutes and still be fine.
Yep.
IP68 exceeds that. I don't remember what, because the most common ones you hear in our industry is IP67 or
67 and 65 are the most common ones. Correct. Yeah.
Exactly.
You've got patch panels to label and a deadline creeping up. With Fox in a Box and Labicus Innovator, you can print labels for up to 40 1U patch panels in just 30 seconds, giving you back your most valuable resource, time. And it doesn't stop there. This system prints over 100 variations of labels, from cable wraps to fiber flag labels and plenum-tested tie-ons. One software, one printer, one ribbon. It integrates with Fluke Linkware Live and AEM testers, turning test data into print-ready labels fast. Trusted by installers worldwide since 1979 and rated 4.8 on Trustpilot. Silver Fox Labeling. It's about time. Visit silverfoxlabeling.com or call 1-833-848-8484.
We were just talking about those lightning strikes.
Yep.
So you're running a copper cable to a camera. How do you protect that camera from voltage surge from a lightning strike hitting the ground near the cable?
Lightning strikes are kind of our biggest pain point. We try to ground the systems, but you can't ground every single camera. Like that's pretty much impossible to do. So we basically will rack mount everything. We'll ground the NVR. We'll ground the rack. A network rack, when it's installed, should be grounded to a bus bar anyways, regardless. Right. So hopefully you have good rack grounding, and then you just ground your DVR to the rack as best you can. And hopefully you've got a good enough ground. I mean, that's basically what you have to rely on. And I have to say, as many systems as we've put in, I've only had, we had a fluke PTZ that got hit on the outside of a manufacturing facility. It was really high up. It was like 60 feet up on the exterior wall. It was overwatching the yard where the yard jockeys and semis moved around a lot. And it was just kind of a freak thing that one got zapped. And of course it popped the camera as soon as it hit it, regardless whether it's grounded or not. That's just too much voltage for a camera to even handle. Mm-hmm. So that is one of your biggest pain points, is going to be your weather related issues. But if you've got a good system, you don't have to worry about those.
Right. I can certainly, and I'm not a video surveillance expert. You are. But I would have to imagine that the cost of replacing a camera is far less than replacing a DVR and all the lost data.
Yeah, you don't want to have to replace an NVR or hard drives or anything like that because it got popped. Right. The camera being popped and the system being grounded properly, fine. You pop that camera off the building, you might have to replace 3 feet of the cable depending on how far down the run went. Most of the time, we just snip the end off. It's usually the camera that takes the hit and the mod plug on the end of your Cat 5, Cat 6, whatever, that takes the hit, and it pretty much just fries your mod plug and melts it. And you just pop it off, put a new mod plug on, put a new camera on, pop it back together, and you're done.
We got to start a little bit of internet controversy here. Pass through a traditional mod plug.
I am all day traditional for especially. So I'll put it like this. Okay. I start my new guys on pass-throughs. Okay. All of my new guys, I start them on pass-throughs. It's so easy. They can verify the connection. And as long as I have no problem with pass-throughs, as long as your blade is sharp. That is the important part. People, check your plug. If your mod plug, if those copper ends come past the plastic, you're toast. It's not going to work. It's going to short out. Any kind of moisture is going to pop it. If you've got a good blade and a flush cut, the cutters that I have will shave the plastic. And I actually have to take and actually kind of peel the little bit of plastic off the mod plug that it shaves. But I know I've got a good cut. Right. But all of my new guys, I will start on pass-throughs until they learn exactly what the color combination is, what a good connection looks like.
Right.
You know, I mean, your traditionals, you can look at them and see if the copper's all the way to the end of the plastic, if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, you and I are old school. You know, I cut my teeth. I've never terminated a pass-through. I've always done traditional. It's always all I've ever done. But I've always told people, look, the key to success, whether it's a pass-through or a traditional, is maintaining your crimper, right?
Correct.
Maintain it. Make sure the blade's sharp. Make sure it's adjusted right. I actually had somebody, I did a TikTok video on it, and I had somebody actually say, well, if the manufacturer is so poor that you got to maintain your crimper, maybe we need to look at that manufacturer because maybe maybe it's not that. What?
I have gone behind other companies that swear by traditional mod plugs, and literally their crimper is so poor, I can just pop the mod plug right off the end of the cable. It didn't even crimp it down properly. I can just pull it right off. So I don't want to hear anybody's argument about traditional or pass-through. As long as you know what you're doing, as long as you've got the right tools, it doesn't matter what you use.
That's right. It's about the skill of the technician and the quality of their tool. So
correct.
You and I agree there. One thing I know about customers, Gary, is customers, they never think the original design through. I mean, I've done I used to specialize in call centers, and it never failed. The day after the cutover, we'd get the phone call, oh, we forgot the printers, right?
Yep.
So you always have, so with a video surveillance system, how do you plan for future scalability so that a customer doesn't outgrow that system as fast?
So we always, I call it the prep process. During the prep process, we're asking all these questions, and this comes with experience. This comes with the experience of the company. This comes with the experience of the installer. This is what you get over the 20 years that I've had in this career, is you learn all these different factors. Are they going to add on to the building? Are they going to, we have like government buildings where they'll just add a wing and then they'll open that up and they'll add another wing. So, I mean, these are all things that you just have to ask in the process. I mean, I don't ever build a system dead tight. And I teach my technicians, don't ever build a system dead tight. If they want 8 cameras, fine. Give them 8 cameras, put it on a 16-channel NVR. Because after you finish those 8 cameras might not be enough. They might want 10. But now you're going back to the customer with the cost of the extra cameras and having to replace their NVR and having to put in a bigger hard drive. Right. If you start that process with an expanded NVR and a larger hard drive, you don't have to worry about it. You just like, okay, 2 extra cameras, couple bucks, you're done.
Well, that's real world here. I told you I've got a bunch of Ring cameras around the farm here. And so we bought like 16 Ring cameras. I got one in the duck pen, one in the goat pen, one in the aquaponics. I got several around the house and stuff like that. And the funny thing is originally I only bought like the 10 camera set. Yep. But then when I bought it and I set it up, I realized there's a lot of stuff that I really wanted to make sure that I observed that I didn't think about. Yep. Right. So that's perfect, right there. Let me ask you this. What are some of the design mistakes that you've seen other video surveillance contractors make during the design phase?
So we've seen systems that they don't consider blind spots. They don't consider like the camera's field of view. The system will be installed and be done and be handed over to the customer. And, I don't know if it's poor customer service or whatever, but the customer will wind up calling us and we'll go out and we'll take a look. And they're like, I thought this camera would do this, but we have a blind spot here, or we can't see this, or this camera was supposed to see this far and it doesn't see that far. It's just, if you don't have experience designing these systems, get somebody to help you that does have the experience. Please, by all means. Right. It will make your world easier. It'll make the customer's world easier. It'll make whoever has to come behind you's world easier. Everything. Please, if you don't have the experience, just reach out to somebody who does.
Yeah, make sure you understand, what is field of view? What does that mean? How much area is it going to cover? Because, a field of view, the further out it looks, the more area it's going to cover. But also, depending on the image sensor on the camera, the further out, maybe not as clear of an image you might be getting.
Correct.
Yep. And then also, I could be surprised how many people don't think about this. Where does the sun come up and where does the sun set? Because you don't want a camera pointing right at those.
You would not believe how many cameras we've seen in our world that are just completely blinded by the sun.
Right.
And the customer's like, from this time to this time, I can't see anything.
Right.
And all it takes is a little sunshade. Buy the right camera with a little sunshade and you're done.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And another one too is when you get, I've had people ask me about this before, is they would put a camera looking outside, they had the camera in their house looking through the glass. I'm like, we can't see anything at night. I'm like, because the IR doesn't go through glass.
IR does not reach through glass. Sorry, it reflects.
Yeah, it does. All we see is just like this bright image. Yeah, no duh. No duh.
But these are all things, as an experienced designer, as an experienced installer, that you should know.
Whether you're pulling your first cable or managing multi-million-dollar installs, you're not alone. Welcome to Low Voltage Nation, the largest, most active community of low-voltage pros in the game. With over 176,000 members on Facebook and growing, this is where ICT professionals connect, collaborate, and level up together. Got a question? You'll get answers from real techs with real experience. Facing a job site challenge? Someone here has solved it, and we'll show you how. From fiber to access control, estimating to entrepreneurship, Low Voltage Nation is your power network. This isn't just another group, it's a movement. Join the community today at lowvoltagenation.com or jump into the conversation at our Facebook group. Because in this industry, the strongest signal comes from those who connect.
Let me ask you this. Is there, because you talk about manufacturers, and in the low voltage world, we have Big C for doing copper and fiber certifications, the FOA for doing fiber certifications, Light Brigade, stuff like that. Is there a industry training mechanism for video surveillance, or is it all just manufacturer training?
So the problem with the surveillance side is it's all manufacturer specific. That's kind of the issue with it. I mean, with a lot of your training classes, with Bixie, with your certified alarm technician, they'll kind of throw in video surveillance just like as an extra topic, but they don't.
It's always a cursory at a very high level. It doesn't go into the weeds typically.
Correct. It's just like you'll need a camera and you'll need an NVR and you'll need a cable that connects them. Right. And that's about as far as it goes.
Yeah. They'll tell you what is a pan tilt zoom. They'll tell you not to aim at and that's why I know this, because I sat in an ESS class at Bixie. They said not to aim the camera right at the sun and stuff like that. But they don't tell you things about the sensitivity of the sensors in the cameras. And in that class, one thing that a lot of people who don't make content or don't do video surveillance systems don't realize how much hard drive space video takes up. Oh, we want 4K. We want 4K. Yeah, no, you don't. Not unless you got an unlimited budget for a lot of hard drives and a lot of cloud space.
We're actually dealing with that at the moment. We have a county jail that wants digital zoom, and they want 4K, and they want constant monitoring. And when I told him it was going to take like 70 terabytes of hard drive space to even get like 3 weeks of everything that they want, they were like, oh, wait. And I was like, that all takes hard drive space.
Yes, it does. And maybe we'll dive into that a little bit later on, because there's actually tips that you can get around that by, instead of shooting in 24 frames, you can actually shoot in less frames.
You can bring it down to 10 frames per second.
Right. Because you don't need fluid
running
motion.
Instead of running it on the mainstream, you can run it on the substream. Instead of running it at 4K, you could drop it to 10. Yeah. There's a whole bunch. Yeah,
because video surveillance systems, you're not looking to see if the guy's got a limp or how their gait is. You usually want a clear shot of the perpetrators, or in my case, the face of the Black Panther or the bears that come on my property every once in a while. So I know which firearm to grab to protect my dogs, right?
Correct. Exactly. Yeah. Yep. That's right. Most systems don't need to see what they think they need to see.
Right.
And that's, again, that comes with the experience of the installer or the designer.
I blame that on TV, Gary. I really do, because whenever you watch the cop shows and stuff like that, and they re-roll the video surveillance footage, like in the store or whatever, and you know that was shot with like a $50,000 cinematic camera at 4K, because that's not what video surveillance stuff looks like in real life.
The thing that kills me is the movies make every camera look like it can zoom in. On all the investigative shows, on all the cop shows, zoom in on that, focus on that, zoom in on that.
Clean up that image.
I try to tell people the image that you're looking at is loaded with pixels. When you zoom in, all it does is expand those pixels. You're going to get an even worse picture trying to zoom in on an existing image, unless you have a camera that can do that. Unless you've got a PTZ, unless you've got a varifocal lens, unless you've got a system that has digital zoom or something along those lines.
Let's shift to talking about tips for installing like a professional, because you're a professional, right?
Yep.
What's your golden rule for installing surveillance systems efficiently and cleanly?
So the best tips that I can give to anybody that would install or is installing is, one, exterior back box always. Never mount your camera directly to the building, because you will have problems. Mount your camera to a back box, mount your back box to the building, and you should be good. You should be 100% copacetic. And let
me ask why on that one, because that I would have just mounted the camera to the wall. Why to a back box?
So if you mount the camera to the wall, and not all cameras have, if you buy cameras that are IP68, IP67, even some now of your IP65s and stuff, they'll have that little foam disc on the base of it that should snug up to a building. But when have you ever seen a building that had a perfectly flat face that can snug up against?
Right.
So you put your back box on there, you drill your hole in, you bring your cable into your back box, you have your cable in your back box. That's where your connection is. You silicone around the back box so no water gets into the actual back box or anything. And when the camera mounts to the back box, you have a perfectly flat surface for the camera to actually hug.
God, that makes sense. As you were saying that, I was thinking, again, thinking in the future, doing the video surveillance system for the podcast studio. It's just a shed, a shed that I'm converting into a studio. Even if I were to mount it to the wall, even if I were to use the gasket and use silicone, when the side of the shed gets wet, that wood gets wet, and water goes through wood. So, I can certainly see how that might cause some problems. Let's talk about cabling now. So what's your go-to cabling for video surveillance? Is it Cat 5e, Cat 6? Is it fiber? What is it?
So we run Cat 6 plenum for everything. I do not run below Cat 6 plenum unless, really, not even if a customer requests it. I'll try to push. I'm not bossy. It's your system. I'm going to put in what you want. But unless you have a specific reason for only putting in 5e, which 5e is plenty, don't get me wrong. 5e will handle all the video systems in the world that you can put in.
Right.
But I have a warehouse, and I'm not trying to stock pallets of 5e over here. Then my guys have to, if they have a surveillance job, they have to come back and switch out the 5e. And then if they have a cabling job, they've got to come back and switch out to Cat. I don't want that. Right. So we stock all Cat 6 plenum. No matter where my guys go, they can use it, whether it's surveillance, whether it's a regular copper job, whatever the needs are. Cat 6 plenum can go everywhere. There's nowhere that it can't go.
Except for outside.
Well,
you
with some limitations.
Run outside.
Some limitations. Then you want
some. Yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But, and the beautiful thing with going with Cat 6 is, like you said, most cameras are like 100 megabits, right? So, no problem there with 5e.
Yep.
But, they're not always going to be 100 megabit. I saw a news article last week. In Japan, they successfully transmitted 1.02 petabytes of data, like 800 miles.
Yep.
That's eventually going to filter its way down to our stuff.
I'm telling you, eventually. Everything is becoming more demanding now. Netflix, when it first started, all you needed was 10 megabits to run Netflix with the perfect stream.
Right.
What is it now? 25 megabits if you're watching a 1080p, and if it's a 4K or an Ultra HD, you need 50 megabits now or something like that. I don't remember the specifics. Right. But as we're increasing those numbers, the technology is following right behind it. So cameras now might only be using 5 or 10 megabits, but as we get, as we're transitioning to fiber cameras and fiber everything,
Right.
they're probably going to build cameras that have features that need 100 megabits for one single camera. So,
and the other advantage of using Cat 6 too is it gives you a little bit more headroom in the testing. And so, if you have a technician, like we were talking about doing the mod connectors earlier, and you have new guys using the pass-throughs, with Cat 6, you might actually still get a pass with that cable, where with a 5E, you might actually get a fail. So it actually builds in a little bit of extra there for you.
It gives you a little bit of protection, a whole lot of future proof, no problems as far as I can see.
Right.
A quick word from the folks who help make this show possible. Are you ready to boost your fiber game? Then check out Go Far Fiber Training School, where you'll learn from the best. Lee Renfro, RCDD, Bixie Tech, and 3-time winner of the Bixie Cable Skills Challenge himself. Whether you're pulling your first strand or prepping for certification, Go Far delivers hands-on, real-world training that gets you job site ready. Don't just go far. Lee will take you all the way. Sign up today and start leveling up your career. Visit Go Far on LinkedIn or click on the link in the description below.
So what do you recommend? I kind of think I already know the answer to this, but I got to ask it anyway. Pre-terminated or field terminated for your
Are we
cable?
talking Cat 6 or what are we talking? Cat 6?
Let's do both. Let's talk Cat 6. Do you prefer to terminate it or do you prefer
Field
pre-terminate?
terminate all day, every day. Never pre-terminated. Never.
Okay. Do you do any fiber to cameras?
We do. We have some fiber cameras out there in the world, especially with like garden style apartment complexes. We have some government parks that are run like the county and stuff. We've got some fiber camera systems out there, and we always field terminate fiber. And I'm even at the point now where I don't even use mechanical terminations for fiber anymore. We're putting everything into splice trays and we're splicing all fiber.
Yeah, that fusion splicing is the best way to go.
I'm telling you, it's so clean. It makes everything so easy and seamless. I don't have to worry about testing a mechanical connection. I know the fiber's good. The splicer will tell me the loss on a fiber before I even put it into production. So,
Yep. So we were talking a few minutes ago about pound tilt zoom, and you're talking about cameras with heaters, and that all requires electricity, right?
Yep.
I know you're not putting a 110 circuit there, so you're probably doing what? PoE plus?
So for most of our camera systems, PoE is sufficient, but if you're getting 8 cameras or more, you need to start looking at PoE plus or PoE plus.
So what do you recommend to ensure the cable doesn't get damaged, especially for like those outdoor locations, or maybe for example, even like shared riser type of environments?
So if you're doing any kind of exterior, follow manufacturer specifications. They'll usually send a watertight connector for where, your Ethernet cable is plugging into the camera, or maybe coming through the camera box or coming into whatever it is. Just make sure you're using the right cameras. That's all that really matters. With riser systems, with outdoor systems, we've got some places, we have a brick building or a brick manufacturing facility that they have a shaker room that just, I don't know what the specifics are, but it has this humongous table that just shakes the crap out of everything and it sets the room to shaking. And we had to actually use like rubber grommets on the back of the camera to make it to where it can vibrate a little bit and still have a seamless view. Just use the right cameras. That's all it really comes down to. Don't try to slam in, some cheap system and you're trying to put it outside. Then you've got to go 10 extra steps to make sure it works. Use cameras that are indoor, outdoor, or exterior specific or whatever. Just make sure you're using the right systems.
A lot of people don't realize this, but your multi-story high-rise commercial office buildings also vibrate.
Yep.
You got the big HVAC systems, and even though they put them on spring tension, so when they kick on, they don't, they minimize it. They still vibrate the building a little bit. So vibration is a huge issue, no matter what kind of a building you're in. Right?
We had a manufacturing facility. We couldn't figure out what was happening. Certain times of the day, the camera would just get to shaking. And we found out that it was when the fan, those big, huge industrial fans, every time that kicked on, it was shaking our camera. Right. But again, that's where a back box gives you a little bit of flexibility too, because you can use bushings, you can use grommets and stuff like that to give you that little extra protection where the box can move, the camera can shake a little, and it won't affect it.
Right. What advice do you have for maybe like that new installer who's working around other trades? You know, because it's notorious other trades always kind of slow us down, right?
Yep.
What advice would you have for that installer?
I am respectful to every single trade we come across. If an electrician's got a lift and I'm giving him grief, he's going to extend using that lift. He's not going to want to give it to me because I'm giving him problems.
Right.
I'm respectful to every single trade we get around. I'm jovial. I laugh. I cut up. You know, I have no problem being personable to anybody that's on a work site with me, especially other trades. I just say, be respectful to them and they'll be respectful to you 99% of the time.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We just finished up an RCDD study group this week, and the section we were in was project execution. And one of the pages was talking about site meetings and stuff like that. And I told him, said, look, here's a pro tip that you can learn from a person who's got 4 decades of experience in this industry. If you're doing a large project where you're on a site and the GC's got a trailer, the electrician's got a trailer, the HVAC people got a trailer, go to each of those trailers and introduce yourself and tell them who you are, find out who there is, get their phone numbers, get their contacts. Also find out what they like to drink or eat. And then maybe every once in a while, maybe send them some pizza, some subs, or, you know, buy them beer on a Friday night, because that goes a long way on the job.
My guys are in the field and I go to see them. Not only do I bring my guys food, but I bring enough that whoever's on that job site can partake. I don't care if it's the electrician that's there. I don't care if it's the GC that's there. Anybody that I see on that job site, I'm going to go, hey, do you want a slice? Do you want a piece? Do you want a sandwich? Do you want a whatever? So
that's a good way to be. Good way to be.
Let's take a short break. Are you trying to reach the technicians, project managers, and decision makers of the ICT industry? Then why aren't you advertising on Let's Talk Cabling? With over 150,000 impressions a month across podcasts, YouTube, and social media, this isn't just a show, it's the go-to resource for the low-voltage industry. We spotlight the tools, training, and technology shaping the future of structured cabling, and your brand could be front and center. Don't just get noticed, get trusted. Email Chuck at advertising@letstalkcabling.com and let's connect your brand to the right audience today.
Let's shift our conversation to testing and certification and handoff, right? So, you know, again, this is one of the weak areas where a lot of low voltage technicians kind of stub their toes, right?
Correct.
Once everything's installed, what does your testing process look like with a video surveillance system?
Before we involve the customer, we're going to go around and make sure every single camera works. Every single camera is seeing what it needs to see. Every lens is clean. Everything is aimed in a general area of where we think, or where we should, by this time, we should know what the customer is trying to see. We're going to make sure the cameras are at least aimed in these areas. We're going to cut out, you know, I always tell my guys, I don't want to see any ceiling. If it's mounted in a corner, I don't want to see the sidewall. I want to see only, if we're looking in a hallway, I only want to see that hallway. If we get pieces of the wall where we're looking at the hallway, fine. But right up against the camera, I don't want to see this wall that's right here on the side of the camera and stuff like that. So I always tell my guys, do not even go talk to the customer. Don't involve them until you're 100% confident that the system is doing everything that it needs to do. We program the NVR, we put in our passwords, we do all of our programming. We make sure, you know, I've come behind installers and it blows my mind that they don't know this one simple little step. An NVR will not automatically start recording footage.
What?
You have to start that hard drive to start recording footage. You usually have to format it. As soon as you get into your NVR, as soon as you get into your programming, you have to go in and you have to format the hard drive before it'll even start recording. And I've been behind installers where they didn't even know to format the hard drive. The NVR was just sitting there and they just thought it'll automatically record. So
Oh wow. Oh wow. Do you test the cables?
we test every single cable we install before we even mount a camera to it. As soon as everything is terminated, we do a general map test and a length test. We have testers that are better quality than what you can typically just pick up at your local hardware store.
Right.
And they'll test the length. They'll test the cable run. They'll tell me if there's any kind of a break, any kind of a short, if there's an extra termination, if there's anything along that cable run. We have good testers that will tell us everything we need to know about that tester or that cable. We don't certify anything unless it's specifically required either by the customer or, some of our government stuff. They have to be certified. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Then we certify everything. But if it's just your typical system, your typical install, we'll just test the crap out of it. We don't even put cameras up until the cables are tested end to end. Don't even touch a camera until it's tested.
Yeah, again, your average run length is probably going to be under 200 feet. Correct. And you're only sending 100 meg over cable that's designed to do 1 gig to 295 feet.
Correct.
So I mean, yeah, simple continuity test would be fine for most of that stuff. And I understand the government wanting their certified cable results, and that tester's a little bit more expensive. That tester's, I don't know,
a lot more expensive.
It's between $9,000 and $26,000 depending on which color tester you buy.
Pretty much.
We'll leave it there. We'll leave that right there. Does in doing the walk-off or the sign-off process with a customer, doing a video surveillance system, is there any kind of training that you got to do with the end user?
We build in 2 to 3 hours of training to every system that we install. We build in that labor to train the customers. We're going to train them, if they want to work the system on a PC, then I'm going to train them on that software to run on that PC. Or if that software doesn't work, here's your web link. Let's save it as a shortcut on your desktop so you can get into your NVR. Even if that software stops running, we're going to make sure that customer is 100% comfortable running, viewing, and operating that system before we walk off that job site. If it takes extra time, I don't care. I'll take the extra time. Gotcha. As long as that customer is comfortable.
Yeah. The NVRs, if a customer's having an issue with an NVR, do you have the ability to remote into it to fix it for them?
Not always. Not all of the systems do we put like remote access and stuff. So for our systems, we do a maintenance agreement where we maintain the system where if a camera goes down, we'll notify you that a camera is down. You don't have to call us and say, hey, I've got a camera down. On those, I have systems in place where I can remotely monitor an NVR, where I can remotely monitor the cameras and stuff like that, but not on every single system, no. Our typical systems, if the customer just wants the system, they buy it, they pay for it, they pay for the install, it's a full handoff. But we warranty everything that we do. We warranty all labor for a year, and the camera manufacturer that we use, all parts are warranted for 3 years. Gotcha. So if they have an issue, they can call me, and every single one of my customers has my personal cell phone number. They've got the numbers for, my technicians if they need them, whatever. I'm not shy. I have no problem with people calling me, but I will tell you after 9 p.m., I put my phone on do not disturb until 6 a.m. because it is nuts how many times that thing will ring at midnight because somebody got a notification from a spider on a camera or something. So
it's funny you say that because we get a lot of those. We'll be camping and the cameras will alert. And it's usually for us, it's not spiders. For us, it's usually like we get these mud wasps.
Yep.
And they get in front of our cameras and set them off all the time. So let's talk about so we've tested the cable, you've walked around and you've made sure that the cameras are at least 95% pointed in the direction that they want.
Yep.
A lot of times with structured cabling jobs, you got to deliver other types of as-built, like maybe cut sheets, IP addresses, floor plans or surveys showing where everything's at with the device names. Is that something that you should include in a survey system?
We make sure that every single one of our customers has a floor plan showing exactly where every single camera is. We tell them most NVRs don't have like numbered ports, but we'll sit down with the customer and we'll be like, okay, on this floor plan, camera 1 is here. And on that floor plan, Some customers like to name their cameras. Some of them leave it at camera 1. So whether they want it, if it's lobby, then we'll put on that floor plan lobby, and we'll put that camera, and we'll put what its field of view is and all that stuff. I mean, I make sure that they have a floor plan. If a camera goes down and they see it on the NVR, they shouldn't be asking us where that camera is. They should know right off jump exactly where that camera is. Even if it was the next day after it was installed, they shouldn't have to go walk around and find it. They should know exactly where that camera is immediately.
Yep. Yeah, because for me, I did the same thing with my cameras. They're all numbered, and when you go into the system, look at it. If one of the cameras down, I don't have it memorized. That camera 8 looks in the chicken coop. Okay, I don't have that memorized. But if 8 is blank, just showing a black blank screen on the camera, it says 8. So I know that that's how I know which one is bad. So yeah. What's one thing that you see technicians or project managers often forget to do at the end of a project that hurts them later?
Just your basic customer service stuff. I mean, we've seen jobs where the customer just doesn't feel like they're being taken care of. And that's going to send them to another company faster than anything else will. If they don't feel like they're being taken care of by you, they're going to find the company that does make them feel like they're being taken care of.
Absolutely. Gary, if somebody wants to get in touch with you or with your company, what's the best way for them to do that?
They can go to our website at www.alphateamtechs.com, TECHS.com. You can reach me by email at GaryR@alphateamtechs.com, or you can get me at my phone, 980-293-5201.
Excellent. I appreciate you coming on and sharing your wealth of video surveillance systems today, Gary.
Thanks for having me, Chuck. I appreciate you.